Hey there, let's have a session for the easy MicroCMSv1. As you can see, there is 4 flags to find. I already started a session and it's going to be presenting you with this page. So let's start up burp, although burp is not needed as per se for this first one. Idea here would be then to set a burp to listen to my trick. I will grab the address and set up the scope. Usually what I do for scoping, I use regex and be a bit more permissive. So anything that has Hacker101 in it will be accepted as a scope. And for that thing here, we're not. I will delete it. And now by refreshing my page, I should be seeing stuff appearing in there. So first, let's analyze a bit the page we have here. It's called MicroCMSv1, which means that we might be in front of us some mechanism to be able to create content and edit content. We have create a new page. We have 2 links here. The first link is actually testing and brings up to the page 1. We have a link for editing this page, and we have a text area with a title, a content, a button, and it's explained to us that Markdown is supported, but scripts are not. So might have to do something with Markdown anyway. So we can also create a new page, and create new page bring us up to page create with a title and some text. So let's be a bit stupid and just like write down our script payload in the title and in the body. So if I create that, I have the body hello script, hello alert, lol, and hello alert, lol. Okay, cool. Nothing really happened here. If I go back, oh, if I go back to the home page, looks like I have triggered my payload, which is providing me with the first flag. And it's actually triggered from this title, which is then taking the script and rendering it. That's the lol appearing after the first line. So now that we have the first flag, we can actually submit it in the first. I have it already, so it will just tell me it's valid flag, but it has been claimed forward. But congratulations, we have our first flag. Those are the hints for the MicroCMS. Try creating a new page, how page are indexed, look at the sequence of IDs, front door, just open, try the window. In what ways can you retrieve page contents? So all that was hinting toward the fact that when you were creating the page directly, the payload wasn't triggered, but once you go back to the actual loading home landing page, that was triggered. That's the front door doesn't open, try the window. Okay, 1 down, 3 to go. One thing interesting is that the first creation has an ID of 8. And oh, that's going to be painful here. The first one is 1, the second one is 2, and then apparently the third in the bullet is actually 8. So what happens in between? Maybe people have created tokens or pages that are in between and we don't have access to, or have been created, deleted, or whatsoever. So might be interesting to actually try to look into what's in between. So for that, I will be using page 1 as a foundation, and I will be sending that one to the intruder. Intruder is a module for Burp that allows to send different queries in different attack types. We will use Sniper because Sniper, which basically use the same set of payloads, place them into a different position. What would be interested here to do would be to actually change this ID here into something more sequential. So I flag the ID itself as the point of interest for me, and I will be setting the payload as a number. Now we have different options. The number will be from 1. We know that the last we created was 8, so let's go for 1 to 10 and 1 by 1. This one is not necessarily needed, but it's basically helping us to set up the padding and all those kind of things. I am going to try to look into the pages that have IDs from 1 to 10, and I don't think I have any more things to add. I have a start the attack. Community edition is actually a demo version for Burp Intruder and has like some throttling implemented for basically incentivize people to buy the professional version, but it's more than enough for what we're trying to do here. So loading the one, I have the empty one that is giving us a 200, which is basically, hey, here's the page 1, which is okay. Sorry, the page nothing, which is okay. It's just displaying edit this page with the first one. The one is actually 200, the second is 200, the third is 44, fourth is 44, and the 8, which is ours, is 200. In between, we have basically that one, which is 4 or 3, and it's basically telling us if you don't have the permission to access the requested resource, and it is either read protected or not readable by the server. We know that this one is interesting because everything else is 404 or 200. So there might be something weird with this 5 ID. Given that we have page 5 that is not accessible, what kind of other URL or accesses we might have? Going back to my target or proxy, I want to be able to see what kind of other things I can do. And though, if you remember, we can also edit stuff. So the idea that is interesting us is 5. If we go for edit 1, for example, we can edit the testing. Oh, sorry, page edit 1. We can actually edit the first one. So what about 5? Can we edit it? Maybe we have access to that. Hey, guess what? We have access to it. And here's our second flag. We have access to this private page basically by trying different URL, which give us access to the page that is normally only private and only available to other people. Cool. Second flag down. 2 to go. Okay. We have now been able to see that. However, if we go back to the Markdown test one, we noted that the page is actually able to render Markdown and so on. So in our previous test, we saw that we weren't really able to run script directly, but what about leveraging Markdown so that it's rendering our XSS directly in there? So in that attempt, we have here an image which has a link and we have a button. So what could we try to do? The first thing I would be really trying to do would be messing with this image in order to try to trigger something like image src x on error or alert 1 or lol, trying to get that to work. So in order for that to work, we will mess with that and do some weird things here. Actually, we'll do this and try to take that. Does it work? It actually worked. So if I inspect the page, I can see that my image has actually the flag in it. Interestingly enough, the direct image has actually triggered sorry the flag thing. So script doesn't work, but other HTML were actually working. So we didn't even have to leverage directly Markdown. It was working right away. Cool. We have a third flag. One to go. We kind of played with Markdown with the unauthorized access, with the ID that is not showing up, and so on. We check the edit and the create. What else can we do? The common thing that we might be trying to do is checking for now we checked for the forms, we checked like the title, the text, but there's something else we didn't try. It's basically when we have some URLs that have IDs, it's also interesting to try get those IDs to trigger some errors or SQL injection part. Because in order to load that page, it had to inject or input that ID to say bring back the title, the text for the ID 1 of this article. So one interesting part we could do is like when we are loading page 1, we can ask it to, hey, is page 1 quote actually doing something? It's not found, which means that it doesn't care how we do it. The other part where it's leveraging this ID, it's edit, and so we are also trying that one. And on that one, we see that we have our last flag, which is this one. So submitting all four, we have found the first flag, which is basically leveraging the title injection for the stored XSS. Second one, make sure you tamper with every X input, sorry. Have you tested the usual culprit XSS, SQLI, path injection, bugs often occur when an input should always be one type and turns out to be another one. That looks like the SQL injection ID thing we did in the last part. The second flag, sometimes a given input will affect more than one page. The bug you are looking for doesn't exist in most obvious place this input is shown. That looks like the broken authentication, or the fact that we were able to edit the ID page 5. And the third flag is basically script tags are great, but there are other options, which means that that's definitely the image payload that we created. So we have found all flags here now. Cheers for listening, and please subscribe if you're not done. I don't know. Bye bye.